Hey everyone, well, I am back here in Washington, D.C. at our nation's capital. I just took my first votes for the week and it's already gearing up to be a crazy week. So I had an amazing time back home in New Mexico this weekend. We were celebrating the National Hispanic Cultural Center, which is such an important institution in New Mexico. It's a center for the arts, performing arts, culture, history, and just such an important institution for our state. Also went to the state fair, which is my absolute favorite time of year in New Mexico. We ate all the things, did all the things, saw all the art, saw all the animals. It was good stuff. And I'm just so happy to have had some time back home. But we are back for another crazy week here in Washington, D.C. We are 15 days out from the end of the fiscal year. And the Republicans still don't have a plan to fund the government. So this is a big deal because if they don't basically propose a viable budget deal within the next 15 days, we will have a government shutdown. And for any of you that have been following, the way this is supposed to work is a budget gets proposed by the White House earlier in the year. It comes to Congress. There's appropriations hearings. Each of the budget bills is supposed to go through the committee process. It's supposed to pass out of the House, go to the Senate, get marked up. Then you come together, work out the details, and pass a budget before the fiscal year starts on October 1st. But that has not happened. And the Republicans still not only have not finished the appropriations bills because they were so busy working on their big ugly bill all year, which blew a hole through the debt and decimated healthcare and food assistance programs, that they don't have a plan to keep the government open beyond a short-term continuing resolution. So word on the street is they're planning to propose a short-term continuing resolution that would continue existing funding through November, but they don't seem to have a plan beyond that. We're coming up against big deadlines that were in the big ugly bill. We're hearing from health insurance companies that they're going to jack up premiums in the next several weeks. That means your insurance is going to go up if you're on private health care. And we already know rural hospitals are going out of business. So there's some really big issues that need to get resolved in this budget negotiation. And we have yet to see a viable plan from our colleagues who control both these chambers in the White House. So that is the big news in the budget. We are also gearing up for another Doge hearing. As you know, the Doge subcommittee was stood up in concert with Elon Musk's Doge effort in the White House that failed catastrophically, resulted in tens of thousands of Americans losing their jobs, and the haphazard cuts and lawsuits and insanity that came out of it, and then the epic breakup between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. But the ghost, or zombie, if you will, of Doge continues here on Capitol Hill. And this week they are literally calling a hearing on contrails and cloud seeding. Tune in tomorrow. We will be calling a top climate scientist who has served for many years in our national laboratories, talking about the importance of continued climate action. As some of you may be tracking, next week is the United Nations General Assembly and Climate Week in New York. A group of members of Congress will be traveling to New York, including myself, to represent the United States, not only at Climate Week next week, but also at the COP, which will be in Brazil this year. Even though the administration has taken us out of international climate agreements, it's really important that the United States continue to show leadership in the global climate space, and we're going to continue to fight to repeal all of the terrible things that were in the big ugly bill that are making your utility bills go up, and which really gutted our utilities who are trying to address our energy needs. So we'll be talking about all of that in Doge this week. We are also continuing our investigation into the Epstein case. This week will be a major week in the investigation. On Friday, one of our witnesses who we subpoenaed will be here on Capitol Hill for a interview under oath, and that will be with Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida at the time that Jeffrey Epstein was given basically a sweetheart deal and a non-prosecution agreement. If you recall, Mr. Acosta actually served in the first Trump administration, was actually booted out because the public was so outraged by his involvement in that non-prosecution agreement. So we will be conducting likely a day-long interview with him to understand really what happened in that deal and to get to the bottom of that. And otherwise, we are continuing to press for the full release of the Epstein files. We have subpoenaed them already, but have non-compliance from Department of Justice because the White House is actively blocking our investigation. We are one signature away from having enough votes on the floor of the House to vote on the floor to force the administration to release the files. As you know, the president's been threatening members of Congress to not sign that discharge petition, and we are continuing to see the obstruction of justice in that case, and we are going to relentlessly continue to pursue it. In addition to that, we're going to have a lot of tribal leaders in town this week. We'll be rallying to protect Chaco Canyon tomorrow with the rest of the New Mexico delegation and Pueblo leaders who will be in town. We are also celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and lots of things going on with CHCI this week, including the national conference and meetings. And lots of work to defend our nation's institutions, including work on the Smithsonian, which I'm sure many of you have been tracking, is under attack right now. Work to address the ongoing impacts of the tariffs on the cost of living, and we know that's impacting everyone across the United States. We're standing in solidarity with our firefighters this week, and so much more. Every week on Capitol Hill is the work that we do every day on behalf of New Mexico and the American people. So stay tuned. Lots of good stuff on tap, and also lots of crazy stuff, and we will keep you guys in the loop. But until then, have a great week. Happy Monday. I hope you guys have a wonderful night.